spine. Even as her resolve hardened, she pulled Winter into a tight hug, feeling her daughter's racing heart match her own. Through the garage window she could see Mrs. Chun still arranging her Halloween decorations, each plastic pumpkin casting long shadows that seemed to point directly at their home. Merritt had always prided herself on being observant. It was what made her a good nurse. But she'd missed the patterns emerging in her own home, in her own daughter. Not anymore, Leighton. Go inside, she said softly, and then Mom's going to make some very important calls. As they walked into the house, Merritt's phone buzzed one final time. Kevin compiled list of recommended urgent care facilities within 10-mile radius, ranked by White Times and pediatric expertise, arriving at highest rank in 15 minutes. Expect full report on Winter's condition. Merritt silenced her phone and locked the door behind them. She had 15 minutes to set their plan in motion, 15 minutes to start collecting evidence of her own, 15 minutes to begin understanding just how deep Kevin's obsession ran. She just prayed it wouldn't be too late. Merritt's training as a pediatric nurse had taught her to prepare for emergencies with methodical precision. Now those same skills guided her through the next crucial hours. She'd helped Winter settle in the living room with her favorite books, positioning her away from windows. Before beginning her own careful investigation of their home, the first camera went above the kitchen counter, angled to capture the main living space. The second, disguised as a phone charger, was placed in the entryway. Merritt's hands remained steady as she worked, even as her mind raced through the implications of what she was doing. Recording devices in her own home. It felt like stepping into someone else's life, someone else's story. Her phone had accumulated 27 notifications from Kevin. She opened them in chronological order, each message more elaborate than the last. Called Dr. Richardson's office, no record of Winter's check-in. Checked cameras at 3 nearest urgent care facilities, no visual confirmation of arrival. Analyzing Winter's last video call for signs of emerging illness. Will forward findings. The time stamp on the last message was 3 minutes ago. Merritt screamed a call from him, watching as another voicemail notification appeared. Instantly she connected her phone to a recording device. Adra had rushed over, ensuring every communication would be documented. Winter's voice drifted from the living room. Mom, Dad's calling again. Merritt found her daughter staring at her own phone's safety device. Kevin had insisted on providing the screen, showed 7 missed calls. Let it ring, sweet pea, Merritt said, sitting beside Winter and pulling her close. Remember what we talked about today is about understanding. Winter nodded, but her fingers had resumed their circular pattern, this time on the phone's case. He's going to be mad about the charts. What charts, honey? The ones in his special room. He calls it his evidence library. Winter's voice took on a mechanical quality, as if reciting from memory. Every Thursday we update the charts. Red markers for big mistakes, blue for small ones, green for suspicious patterns. Merritt felt her throat tighten. And what counts as a mistake? Being late, taking phone calls during dinner, having male nurses on your shift. Winter's fingers moved faster. Last week he added a whole new chart because you bought organic milk instead of regular, he said. It shows. She scrunched her face in concentration. Fiscal irresponsibility and unstable decision-making. The doorbell rang, causing them both to jump. Merritt checked the security camera feed on her tablet. Mrs. Chan stood on their porch holding what looked like a casserole dish. Stay here, Merritt whispered to Winter, moving to answer the door. Mrs. Chen's usual smile seemed strained. Merritt, dear, I saw you come home early and thought you might need dinner. She lowered her voice. Kevin called, said Winter was sick. Hek, quite concerned, mentioned something about hospital protocols for fever management. Merritt accepted the dish, her mind racing. Of course Kevin would start calling neighbors, building his narrative. Just a slight fever, she said carefully. I'm monitoring it at home. Mrs. Chen's eyes darted past Merritt into the house. He seemed very specific about which urgent care you should be at, even quoted some statistics about pediatric care standards. She hesitated. Merritt, is everything okay? Before Merritt could respond, her phone buzzed with another message. This one made her blood run cold. Accessing hospital security feeds from last 3 months, documenting all male interactions during shifts. Will present findings at next custody review. Everything's fine, Merritt said, forcing a smile. Thank you for dinner. As she closed the door, Winter appeared in the hallway. Hek, checking the cameras again, isn't he? He shows me sometimes all the hospital videos. He makes me count how many times you talk to Dr. Evans. Merritt's hand tightened on the casserole dish. Dr. Evans, the pediatric surgeon she worked with almost daily. She'd never mentioned him to Kevin. Winter, sweetheart, I need you to tell me more about these videos. Does Dad have access to the hospital security system? Winter shook her head. He has a friend, someone who can get anything. He calls him his truth finder. She paused, then added in a smaller voice, Dad says he's finding all your secrets, so we can save me from them. Merritt's phone lit up with a new message. Meeting with Pi tomorrow, discussing Expansion of surveillance parameters. Winter safety is paramount. Private instigator. Of course. Merritt closed her eyes briefly, remembering the odd feeling of being watched during her last few shifts. The unfamiliar cars in the hospital parking lot. She dismissed it as paranoia, a mistake that now seemed monumental. Mom. Winter's voice quavered. There's something else about the special room. Merritt knelt down to her daughter's level. What is it, sweet pea? Sometimes when he thinks I'm sleeping I hear